Hello everyone, this is Adam at Miyazarate Art School. Since our last video about the exhibition Happy Spring at Mori Art Museum, Chim Pom changed their name. So Chim Pom have changed their name to Chim Pom from Smappa Group, and that came into effect from April 27th. Chim Pom surprisingly announced two new exhibitions: Remember the Days at MUJIN-To Production and Chim Pom from Smappa Group at Anomaly Art Gallery. Just how bizarre could Remember the Days actually be, and how meaningful could this new exhibition at Anomaly Gallery make Happy Spring? I just had to go there and find out. MUJIN-To is around a 7-minute walk from Kinshicho Station, and the area is very different from Mori Art Museum. Whereas Mori is all built up an urban jungle, this area is more suburban and more residential. And the building itself, MUJIN-To Productions, is an old Japanese building with again a very different feel from the metal and glass of Mori. MUJIN-To is dark wood. There's a sense of history to the building, and when you look at the way that MUJIN-To is run, it too is very different from the system in place in Mori. So MUJIN-To Productions was founded in 2006, and they support and promote emerging and mid-career artists such as Meiro Koizumi and Sachiko Kazama, and they also produce DVDs and books along with live performances. Remember the Days is another Chim Pom retrospective, but unlike Happy Spring that just focuses on their work, this exhibition is a retrospective of their studio practice and has a much more loose and experimental feel. This exhibition is not just a place for work, but also to have meetings, to socialise, hold exhibitions and have live performances. The first room of the exhibition is set out as a studio for desk work, so it has a desk space which runs around the wall of the exhibition with a table in the middle. And on the table you start to see some production materials which connect up to the Happy Spring exhibition, such as the logo designs which are used on the Happy Spring posters. Here, another connection with the Happy Spring exhibition are some watercolour drawings or paintings for the billboard works, the Tokyo 2020 works that you see in Happy Spring. And here we have a nod to Aida Makoto, who you could say is Chim Pom's mentor and has really helped them a great deal in their development. And this video is worth watching as well, where he does a TED talk in the guise of Osama bin Laden. Like I say, it's worth checking out his work. And you can also see a load of materials around that they use to make their work, some orthodox, such as paints and pencils, but some less usual, such as the taxidermied Pikachu in the corner there, which of course is a part of their Super Rat series of works. Another Pikachu here, but this time a clock. Did they make this? Did they buy this? And again, you find yourself in this cycle of working out what items they've made, what they've bought, and what role they might play in their exhibited work. And Eddie Chim Pom's severed head there. Not a real head, but a synthetic simulacrum. And then we move on to the back room, which is a larger space, which is perfect for sculptural works. And we see a few works in progress here, some large-scale sculptures, one in a classical guise, which seems to be made up of casts of paper cups, and another one which connects to work that they made in response to a mural in Shibuya Station. And basically, you can see, as you go around the exhibition, that this work does indeed help make the Mori Art Museum Happy Spring exhibition more meaningful. Here we have the drop of pandemic beers from the exhibition they did in Manchester, which is also in the Happy Spring exhibition. And we've got a tarmac area which connects to the street work that you see, which is basically a street within a museum where different rules and regulations hold sway. And I love this area at the back with the table where you can imagine the Chim Pom members gathering round to talk about the exhibition, to plan new works. And so, in short, there's a really you get a greater sense of Chim Pom as people and a greater sense of their process, and there's much more energy in this exhibition than you find within the Mori Art Museum exhibition Happy Spring, where I'm sure there must have been more restrictions in place. Going back to the front room, there's a ladder that leads up to a roof space. And in the roof space, you find a stuffed crow, which connects to their Black of Death work, and a small room where you have to take off your shoes, which has a wooden work there. So in short, this is a more enjoyable and relaxing space than Happy Spring, and there are more opportunities to interpret and think and make connections between the works, which are helped by the fact that a lot of these works have not been subjected to criticism yet, and nor are there wall texts accompanying the works. I feel more trusted as a viewer when looking around this work, especially in the roof space where one false step could result in a trip to hospital. I also want to give a shout out to Kenta Nishimura, who's overseen Chim Pom studio design for this exhibition, and also their studio design since 2011. And also the staff there were really friendly and helpful too. So as I say, a shout out to MUJIN-TO Productions. Oh, and remember the days at MUJIN-TO Productions is totally free, unlike Happy Spring at Mori Art Museum, where you have to pay between 1,600 to 2,000 yen. And here we are at Kinshicho Station. It's a big station with a big bridge, and we're going to get onto a train here to get to the next exhibition, which is at Anomaly Gallery. Anomaly Gallery is a contemporary art gallery that opened in 2018, and it's part of the Terada Art Complex 1, which itself opened in 2016. Now this is the largest gallery complex in Japan, and it has galleries, studios and a cafe. It's in the Tenozu area, and the closest station is Shimbamba Station, which is a funny name. The gallery complex itself is all metal, concrete and glass, which is quite similar to Mori Art Museum, and it's clearly been modelled on the sort of white cube spaces and gallery complexes you see in New York and across Europe, especially London. So finally we get to the Anomaly Gallery. Well, actually it's just called Anomaly. We go around here, and next to the door we've got the price lists, shows all the titles and the editions, the obligatory decal on the windows here. And here at first we have Chim Pom from Smappa Group, a neon sign, prefabricated in 2022, like the name change controversy. And the space is dark, and it puts you in the mind of the Kabukicho host clubs and bars to which this exhibition alludes. And at the back we've got "They can exclude us but they can't exterminate us, we are super rat." So more super rats. And this sense that they cannot be held down connects to Chim Pom, and also the hosts that we'll see here at the back of the space. And in this dark space it's very loud as you hear this chanting. Here we have a work called Happy Spring, which I feel is Chim Pom's attempt to get some agency over the controversy of Eddie Chim Pom posing with the ex-Prime Minister and his wife. Here we have the obligatory super rats, Chiba Okakun, replica, and Super Rat Pika Pika, replica. We saw some super rats in the Happy Spring exhibition at Mori Art Museum, but these are on black plinths, spotlit, and there are no cases over them, because this isn't a big museum retrospective. It's a white cube, or rather black cube in this case, space, where things are meant to look really sophisticated and nice and shiny and pika pika. And all the work so far, in fact all the work in the exhibition, is from 2022. And here we have a work called Chim Pom from Smappa Group, in which hosts who work for Eddie Chim Pom's husband's host clubs take it in turns to shout out words of encouragement. Now this work reminded me of a video in Happy Spring called Ki 100, in which survivors of the 2011 tsunami and earthquake in Fukushima also shouted out words of encouragement. And this video is called Hostage, a play on the words host and hostage, in which hosts from host clubs talk about themselves, their hopes, their dreams, their backgrounds, their hobbies, in turn humanising them and casting them in a different light from the negative one that is often shone on them by the mainstream media. This work is called Libido Electricity Conversion Machine, a Rocketel 9th model, made up of street lamps, insulators and a mobile phone. They started this project with their first model in 2007, and in short, Chim Pom insert, or rather pay for, ads for sex lines in newspapers and magazines, and when someone calls the number and the mobile phone rings, the radio waves are converted into electricity and the lights flash on and off. So in a way, Chim Pom are converting this libidinous energy into a sustainable form of electricity. And this ties in with a lot of themes of this exhibition, especially in the host clubs where clients pay to convert their libidinous energies and sublimate them into other forms. We've got a computer model of the Happy Spring exhibition at Mori Art Museum that's been divided into sections, each one an NFT, and the stamps show that some have been sold already, so already Chim Pom are recouping the costs. Oh, and it's called Michi-no Tochi. To use a musical analogy, the Mori exhibition is like a large stadium show, the Anomaly one a more intimate club gig, and MUJIN-To a behind-the-music VH1 style studio tour. I think all three of the current Chim Pom exhibitions are well worth visiting, and seeing all of them will help give you a really great rounded view of their practice and how they approach their work. In Happy Spring at the Mori Art Museum, you got a real sense of the collective energy of Chim Pom in their early works. But as the exhibition went on, that energy seemed to fade, especially when you get to the end of the exhibition, where you just see Eddie's work about motherhood. You were left with the question, can Chim Pom survive this and continue beyond the Happy Spring exhibition? But these two exhibitions, the Anomaly exhibition and especially the MUJIN-To exhibition, suggest there's more fire in them yet, and it seems to bring Chim Pom back together as a collective. Having these three exhibitions run simultaneously shows that Chim Pom can adapt to work in different environments very effectively. Why did Chim Pom change their name? So in short, what happened is that Mori Art Museum asked them to provide money for the installation of their exhibition Happy Spring, but they turned down a sponsorship offer from a company called Smappa Group, which just so happens to be Ellie Chim Pom's husband's company. Now, Mori Art Museum say this was due to branding issues, and Chim Pom state they believe that this is discrimination against nightlife workers, as the company Smappa Group run a number of host clubs. In this statement, Chim Pom make two demands to Mori Art Museum that they say should come into effect from 15th of May. One, that their name should be changed to Chim Pom from Smappa Group on all media related to the Mori Art Museum Happy Spring exhibition. And two, that Mori reconsider the acceptance of funds from Smappa Group and display its logo in the museum. Do you think this name change controversy was prefabricated by Chim Pom? Do you think Chim Pom's adherence to the cycle of making art to exhibit and sell in galleries is holding them back from being truly radical? Do you think Chim Pom are fully realising their potential as a radical artist collective? And if not, what course of action should they take to do so? Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.